Hello and welcome to today's live video show. It gives me great pleasure to be able to introduce you to our guest today, or my guest today, Jack Murray. Jack is in the business of helping coaches, consultants, mentors to monetize and scale their business. Most of his strategies that he teaches goes beyond business, and it's interwoven with life and personal development. In 2012, Jack started a coaching school in Australia called the Australian Institute of Coaching, and he sold it in 2015. It still remains one of the most successful life coaching schools in Australia. His journey started with Tony Robbins' event and have had to listen to his exciting story. Have a listen with us today to hear his exciting story, his background, and his insights. So welcome, Jack.
Thank you for the introduction, and I'm pleased to be here.
So I have to ask, because I've done this, tell me about Tony Robbins.
Tony was such a great experience, Leanne. So that journey for me really started in 2008. In 2008, I had previous to that, I was introduced to Tony through his Get the Edge program, his infomercials. So that was when you could say, got introduced to the world of personal development. We all know how exciting this journey can be when you're just beginning, and you almost learn things that are different than the traditional societal norms. So I was never an exceptional student at school, not because of me as a student, but more of the curriculum that was taught. I felt like it wasn't really aligned with my goals and my vision for myself. So Tony was one of those first people back in, you could call it 2008, that said, hey, there's another way to live your life, and you can almost, his way of doing it is modeling success. That just made sense to me. So that was, you could call it my introduction.
Awesome. So tell me, what did you do? Did you walk on fire?
Yes, I walked on fire, and I've done it a good few times now. And I don't think it's one of those things that you can just go to once and sort of get enough of it. So, sometimes people say, hey, is the Tony Robbins experience like this cult? And is it anything like that? And it certainly hasn't been for me or anybody else I've spoken to, because really, once you get involved into something like this, you understand that there's a new way of experiencing life, and there are, strategies for success that just made sense to me. So yes, I walked along fire, and I will again. It's an event I'll continue to attend. His Unleash the Power Within we're talking about here.
Absolutely. And I agree. I'm a Tony Robbins junkie. I took my kids to the Unleash the Power in 2011 or 10. So they were 16 and 18 now, and I attribute their success to that event.
Oh,
and a bit of me as well, of course.
Yes, I bet. I bet. That's right. And like you said there, it's so good to bring people along with you, because I've found that if you're just going on your own, you can tend to, maybe if it's friends or even family, sometimes grow apart on that journey because they may feel isolated. So I'm a very big advocate of bringing everybody along with you and building this connection together, rather than you going home and saying, hey, I had a great experience at Tony Robbins. And, the natural tendency is to sort of say, the natural tendency is to put up a wall and say, hey, what is this?
Exactly. I so relate to that. So again, I haven't thanked you yet, but thank you for joining me on today's show, Jack. So what I want to discuss with you is a little bit about your business journey. You started the Coaching Institute, which I myself have a coaching background, so I know how important that is. So tell me about your journey in business in a snapshot. So, you started the Coaching Institute.
Sure.
How did that happen? You sold it. Where are you now?
Yes. Like most people on this journey, my journey started at that UPW event, that Unleash the Power Within event. And I had a friend sitting next to me. Her name was Lisa at the time, and she sort of nudged me when Joseph McClendon III was on stage. I think it was day 2 or day 3. And she said, oh, could you picture you doing that? And that was the insight it took for somebody else to see something within me that I couldn't see within myself, for me to have the courage to say yes to that. So in that moment, she gave me that just moment of permission to say yes and relax into that. So that was really the start of the journey for me. And that's really what my clients invest in me for now, to see something in them that they don't quite see in themselves yet. So what happened after that was I went to a different coaching school, because I wasn't running a coaching school at this stage. And it was an okay experience, but when you go from a Tony Robbins event to another event and it doesn't match internally, you start to ask yourself the question of, okay, am I in the right environment? And I'm sure some people can relate, because most coaching schools or programs or courses, people are sold into, which I think is a problematic way of doing. What I try to find is, when somebody is looking to come and work with me, I like to make sure we have this energetic tie where we're connected at a soul level before we talk of more of a strategic and tactical level. And I found that this coaching school, and for the sake of integrity, I won't mention names, however, didn't do that for me. And I went along to the programming course, but I sort of came out of that programming course thinking, okay, that was an experience. I'll continue along my journey. And after that, I became a life coach and done a lot of the one-on-one sessions. So it was with my clients. It was 6 sessions. You'd come and work with me. I'd charge $120 per hour. And it was more along the Tony Robbins energy. And what I mean by that is, as we start to go throughout our journeys, we tend to pick up different energies to different mentors. And I was yet to find my own unique natural energy. So I was really modeling Tony at this stage. And you would often see this within the marketplace. You would hear coaches and consultants reciting Tony Robbins. And in the beginning of my journey, that really was my journey. And I think it is for a lot of people also, because you have one role model at the time, which is also healthy, I think. However, after this, I decided that it was actually time for me to transition from the one-to-one to the one-to-many. I had almost graduated to a place where it was like, okay, now that I've really served my clients and they've gotten some great results, and I've learned what to do and what not to do with clients, I think I'm ready to talk to rooms of people. And that's when I decided to start the Australian Institute of Coaching. It wasn't called that all the way through. It was called the Life Coach Institute and then the Australian Institute of Coaching. And really at this stage, it was like, what is the biggest name I can choose? What can I grow into? And that's really what it was for me. And I had to look up and say, hey, can you call yourself an institution? Is there some legal legislation here? So that's how I started on that journey. It came from, okay, now that I've been a coach for so many years, I think it's time for me to train coaches and consultants and mentors that really want to start on this journey, Leanne.
Brilliant. And how awesome is that? I mean, what I'm hearing from what you're saying there is the fact that it's about tapping into that authenticity and the energy, and that, I was going to say it's not teachable. It's not a teachable skill, but that's the wrong word. It's more about unleashing or unmasking and allowing our true self to come through.
Yes, which is very frightening. Like it's naturally frightening, because you tend to face some sort of criticism. And if you are rejected when you're being your natural and authentic self, it's much harder to face than if somebody rejects you when you're a carbon copy of somebody else in the marketplace, because you almost have something to stand against. And this took me, like, I've been doing this for over 10 years now, and it took me so long to decide that, hey, it's time for me to be my natural self within the marketplace. And I don't think anyone is an exception to the rule.
No.
I just haven't seen anyone to be an exception. Now, in saying that, does that mean you can't be an exception? Absolutely not. It really came down to making a decision that I was okay to what I call attract and repel my what I call soulmate clients or ideal clients. I'm now in a place, and I have been over the last, you could call it 3 or 4 years now, that I decided that I found that the clients I attracted through my authenticity, through displaying my values so they could see my value, were much more attracted and natural to work with me. And we had a much longer relationship. And I'm talking years and years and years versus those clients that stayed with me just because I shared a cool tactic online. I found it to be a much deeper and authentic relationship with those that I attracted through values rather than clever marketing, Leanne.
Brilliant. That's just a great strategy in its own right. And I think I always say to every business owner that you can't be copied if you're your true self.
Yeah.
You know, you might have competition as such,
Sure.
and people may take your ideas or whatever, but if you're actually your true self, nobody can copy you because you are you.
Yes, and I really do agree with that. And it's a nuance that can be so looked over because the marketing, the tactics, the funnels are just so appealing to the unsophisticated client almost. Like sometimes you need to go through a journey to see the value in what you just said then. And I'm a very big advocate on building a brand first, then putting marketing in place second. The way I really built AIC, the Australian Institute of Coaching, was through great marketing in the beginning, but the way I built it into a place where my clients really had a great connection with me was through branding, through this place of authenticity. And I'm not personally interested in a big following. I'm not personally interested in appealing to everybody in the marketplace. All I'm really looking for are calling in clients that are really vibrating at a frequency I'm vibrating at. And I've found the only way to do that I have found is through that authenticity we're talking about through branding, because branding, like you said, is something that can't be replicated. It can't be copied. And it doesn't matter if somebody takes your ideas, your words, even your energy, they just can't replicate you. And I think that's the beauty of branding, and then maybe amplifying that branding through clever marketing. However, using clever marketing as the foundation just isn't going to attract those soulmate clients at a deep level.
Absolutely agreed. So if I can move on and ask you, what has been your biggest success looking back at your journey and your businesses? What would you actually say was one to date
Sure.
the big tick?
My client successes, no doubt about it. I could talk about the company I sold and I could talk about the company I built, but I find almost no fulfillment within that. I've done that, and I've exited a company, and it was a great experience. But my pure fulfillment in selling the company was who I was selling the company to.
Yeah.
It was, okay, I'm now handing this company over to somebody that's going to look after it, cherish it, understands the core values that made it a success, rather than the monetary reward from that. Because I don't find, every time I have reached a new financial pinnacle experience, it has been empty. And that's not to say I won't continue striving for that, but I find more fulfillment in the actual service, or not even the service itself, the leadership of my clients, which equates to service, rather than the financial rewards they invest in me. Because I believe that their financial investment in me is just the beginning of our relationship. It's just the buy-in. what happens in our relationship when I'm working with them at a client-mentor relationship is I really want them to invest on an energetic level through commitment, through constant nurturing of the relationship, whether that may be praise, gifts, sharing the resources, whether that be being through referral. I've found that those are the little moments that equate to any form of success, and I like to experience those along the way. So I definitely say my success and my clients and the way we've continued our relationships on a highly integral and ethical place, rather than me trying to close somebody on coming and working with me. That's certainly my biggest achievement, and I think it always will be.
Brilliant. Can I ask then, I'm just going to delve in here because something jumped out for me, and it's from a conversation that I had this morning and also from my own experience with coaching. It's twofold. We know as coaches, if you've experienced coaching, you know the absolute value and the life-changing experience, because as you said in the beginning, we often can't see what's happening for us, but somebody else can see that quite easily. So my question is, for somebody that wants to have a coach or looking at coaching, how do you come across the objection, or how do you solve? I know you just said that energetically, but financially, you know, someone says, oh, I can't afford a coach. I know that they're great, but they're expensive. So what advice can you give to people out there that are actually looking at coaching and getting that amazing experience? How do you actually show value when you haven't actually made that commitment yet financially?
So it's not my responsibility to help my clients come to an energetic space where they make a financial commitment. That's their responsibility.
Nice.
So the moment you put the responsibility onto me, I can no longer help you for what you're looking for in our relationship. So I'd rather say thank you, however, no thank you. In saying that, I would much rather prefer to allow my clients to see my value rather than explaining my value.
Yeah.
And I do this through displaying my values publicly and authentically, rather than trying to convince somebody that I'm a good investment, rather than trying to convince that this is a good decision. And I can see that hit for you. So thank you for the question.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Because I know many business owners struggle with that, you know, just getting people to acknowledge and value their services. And I agree, you're better off going, yeah, well, you're not right for me, or we're not a right energetic match. Let's just move on from that.
Yes, that's right. And on a tactical level, I'd also say that if I jump onto a call with an aspiring client rather than a prospect, an aspiring client that is not ready to come and work with me, I will not present an offer. It would be irresponsible of me in that moment to present an offer. So anytime I have ever faced a monetary objection, deep down, this is really an energetic objection. There is much more underlying that. I don't believe monetary objections exist, because if I believe monetary objections exist and you're coming to me to help you make some more money, you probably shouldn't come and work with me, because I've already put energy around challenge.
Yeah.
I'd also recommend for my prospect or my aspiring client to lead by example. I really would. If you're coming to me and you hope that you're going to attract, magnetize, and make more money in your business, and you're already putting up the emotional barriers in coming and working with me through finances, that's probably the block stopping you from experiencing the money.
Yes.
So I'd kindly point that out to them and allow them to sit within their decision, rather than convince them to make a decision.
Absolutely agreed. That's brilliant advice. Very, very true. So, Jack, a little birdie told me that you have a book that's just been
Yes,
released.
that's right. So I do, Leanne. It's this book right here. It's called $1 Million Mentor. There it is there. And this book here, I'm giving away at no charge. So I'm covering the cost of the book. The cost of the book, I do it through Ingram Spark. So any of you that are looking at being authors, Ingram Spark is who I print the book with, and it's about $5 or $6 to actually print out. I'm happy to pay for the cost. All I do ask in return for that is you cover the postage, and then you can expect a parcel from me in the mail. I've found that me sending you a book is going to start our relationship off on a much better frequency and energetic note, because you receive something in the mail. I personally send out all the mail. I don't have an assistant. That's not the kind of business I manage. And I also do all the writings on the post. So what I'm saying here is, instead of you going online and downloading an ebook or listening to a webinar, you probably you probably almost aren't all that interested in, but instead of that, I've decided to make it not available online and go the good old fashioned way, because that way I think you're going to have an increased likelihood in reading the book. If this book is sitting on your desk and you see it enough, I think you're going to say, hey, I'm going to pick it up and read it, rather than going online and downloading an ebook. So I'm happy to wear the cost as long as you happily receive it. I'll send it out to you. So thanks for mentioning that, Leanne. And the place you get the book is jackmurraybook.com.
I'm just going to put this up on the screen, even though I can't speak English. So is that it? jackmurraybook.com?
That's right. That's exactly it there.
Brilliant.
So I've made it as easy as possible for you to purchase the book on there. And you can expect a parcel from me soon.
Awesome. Well, that sounds like a great read. So you said that you work with coaches and consultants. Is this a book particularly for coaches and consultants, or is it a book for everybody?
I'd say it's a book for everybody, but I'm talking to coaches and consultants. I really would say, if you deal with people and you want to get the best out of your relationships with them, and you want to create long-term relationships with the people in your life and the clients in your life, because one doesn't go without the other, I'd say this book is not only a great starting point. I really think, as I've been teaching these principles for so many years now, I think it'll be a book you revert back to when you may be facing challenges or problematic clients in your business. I think if you're almost in your business right now and you're almost stuck, you really want to tip into the next income bracket and scale without the necessary need for an over amount of technology. I think this book's really going to help you at that energetic level with your organizing principles, so you can really start to magnetize those soulmate clients we're talking about, Leanne.
Brilliant. So guys, definitely head over to jackmurraybook.com, and if energetically it feels like the right place for you and the next book to have on your desk or beside your bed, please do so. So Jack, I just love chatting to business owners and also speaking to people on the same wavelength and energetically as well. So is there anything that you would like to share with our audience today that I haven't covered, something pressing that you'd really want to just talk about?
Sure. What I would say is, if you're a coach or a consultant and you're not living the life you really are destined to live, I'd say it's time to make a heartfelt and true commitment to start to live into that. And what I've found is the marketplace responds to the person you turn up as, rather Thanks, Sherry. Rather than you create, the marketplace is going to respond to the way you turn up. So if you create the life you actually want to live, your clients are going to turn up at that energetic level. The reason your clients invest 10, 20, 30, 40, $50,000 in your services is because of the way you're turning up within the marketplace. They invest in you to turn up at your absolute best. So whatever you need to do to turn up at your absolute best and the best version of yourself, you should be doing those things, whether that's yoga, meditation, fine dining, travel, first class. Do those things, because every time you make a decision not to do those things that are most congruent with you, you are becoming incongruent with your ideal client and that soulmate client. And that would be my message there.
Perfect advice. Absolutely perfect advice. I mean, the old saying would be walk your talk, but you're actually saying living it.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Very much so. I think it's such a more powerful way, because the marketplace is always watching. They've always got their eyes on you, and they're just waiting for that leader to turn up at their most powerful self. And what I would say, it doesn't matter if you've been doing this for 10 years or 10 minutes. Make the decision to live into that experience, because I've seen people that have just started out, that have been clients of mine and not clients of mine as well, mind you, that have just gone leaps and bounds ahead of those that have decided to wait for success rather than embrace the success they want to experience and actually live into it now. Leanne?
Brilliant. Well, thanks, Jack, for joining me today. Do you have a Facebook page where people can see your business, or is it just you?
I do. I have a personal Facebook page, and I just find the personal Facebook page suits me much more. And I only just redone a new Facebook page. I decided that it's time for me to let go of some old energies and create new. And I tend to do this every few years. It might be an email list. It might be a Facebook page. So this new Facebook page, I'd love for you to be one of my first friends, by the way. I don't measure it in the amount of friends I have. I measure it in the authenticity of friends I have on there and the way I'm turning up for them, which is the Facebook URL / The Real Jack Murray. So you can follow me on there as well.
Brilliant. I'll actually pop that into the comments, not the comments, the actual description of the page, just so people can come and hang out with you. So that's really cool. And I'll also put the link to the book in there and the website of where you could get a book published.
Thank you, Leanne. And I also have to say thank you so much for allowing me to speak on your podcast and creating the space for me to share my message. I really do appreciate you having me on.
It's my pleasure, because I get so much from talking to wonderful people like you too. So thank you for showing up today.
Thanks so much. I really do appreciate it. And thanks for you guys for tuning in. I see Cherry there and Rosita, I think it is. Thank you so much. It's been great to have you on as well.
Thanks, Jack. I'll just finish the show and then we'll have a chat after the show. So thanks again, Jack, the Millionaire Mentor. You've got a wonderful book out. You can get it at jackmurraybook.com. There it is. Yoo-hoo! And also we'll put the links to how to get in contact with Jack. So thanks again, Jack.
Thank you.
So how cool was that? I mean, I never know. I never know how or what will happen in an interview process. I actually intuitively do it, even though I give all my guests a list of questions. But to have Jack on the show and just to share the energy and, you know, the attraction for clients, I got goosebumps saying that, is really, really cool. So I know that I'm going to pop over to the website and grab his book. And if it aligns with you energetically, then maybe that's something that you want to do also. If you're watching the replay, thank you so much. You've watched us live, Rosita and Sherry and a few others. Thank you so much. I don't know who will be my next guest speaker, but if you would like to be on the show, hit me up. Thanks for joining me. My name's Leanne Peard, your social media specialist for 2019. Ciao for now.